host.
Yeah, I just asked to unmute as well. So when we unmute her video and mic, we'll get started.
And our attorney, Mike Comier, as well.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Let's get the
Let
agenda
me
up
know.
and then we'll get started.
Okay, yep. Just let me know when you're ready for me to start.
Oh, here we go.
All right, I think we're ready to go.
Okay, it's 4 o'clock and I call the court. Actually, it's after 4 o'clock. What is the time? It's 4:03. I call the Courts and Public Safety Committee meeting to order. May I have a roll call on your location, please?
Commissioner Brown,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Sear,
Here, Twin Lake, Michigan.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Hughes,
Here, Muskegon Township, Michigan.
Commissioner Laring,
Here, the Muskegon County Hall of Justice.
Chairman Skolnick,
Here, City of Norton Shores.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Here, Muskegon County.
and Commissioner Pago.
Here, City of Norton Shores. Okay, I believe all are present.
I'm here too.
Charles
I
Day.
miss you, Commissioner.
Did I
Nash.
miss you?
Yeah.
I wrote your name down. I put Muskegon. Thank you.
Okay, I knew we were all here. All right, thank you. I will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of February 2nd, 2021, please.
So
So
moved.
moved. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a support. I wasn't sure by who. Commissioner Hughes was one of them.
Wilkins.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilkins. Okay, we have approval of the minutes. Is there any public comment on an agenda item?
Oh, we need a roll call on
We
that.
have to vote
Gotta
on the
vote.
minutes.
Oh, we have to roll call. I'm sorry. Can I have a roll call vote for the approval of the minutes for February 2nd, please?
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago.
Yes. Okay, and that motion passes for the minutes. Number 4 now, is there any public comment on an agenda item? No, does anybody see any hands? No
I do not
comment?
see any
Okay.
comments.
I don't
Okay,
either.
we are going to move on for items for consideration. The first item for today is CPS 21/03-16 from the sheriff to approve the sheriff's office accepting the Huron-Manistee National Forest law enforcement agreement 21-LE11090-400-018 between the Muskegon County Sheriff's Office and the USDA Forest Service, and to have the sheriff sign this agreement.
So moved.
Support.
I'll be right.
Okay, we have Commissioner Hughes, motion and support from Commissioner Hovey Wright. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns? No questions, comments, or concerns. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago.
Yes, and that motion passes. The next item for consideration is CPS 21/03-17 from Sheriff Michael Poland to approve the sheriff to utilize salary savings to reclassify the communication dispatcher G22001, pay table grade GU 0070 $12.93 per hour through $15.79 per hour to a communications dispatcher 2 position, pay table grade GU-00160, $15.16 per hour through $18.70 per hour at a cost of $2,586.80 for fiscal year 2021.
So moved. Hovey, right?
Support.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Hovey Wright and a support from Commissioner Wilkins. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Hughes.
I was just wondering, is the job gonna change or are you just trying to give somebody a raise?
Is Sheriff on the line?
Yeah, Commissioner Hughes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm here, and I don't know if maybe Kat, the host will not allow me to do my video. If someone could let me in, then maybe you guys can see me, but if you don't need to, that's fine too.
We don't care.
Oh.
We know what you look like, but
There
we'd
you
be
go.
happy to see you too.
That's fine. Commissioner Hughes, what it is actually the pay, I want to say, on this position came to light this last year when the administration was looking at the furlough days for county staff. And there were certain pay rates for individuals that would qualify for the furlough days, at least benefit, I should say. And I found that I had one staff member. This staff member works at the front desk of the jail. We have 2 staff members that work there full time, and they do the exact same job. They're actually kind of one layer of security for the sheriff's office as far as the jail goes. And they do have mandated functions by law that they're required to do. But anyways, it was during that time that, I found a staff member that was making $13 an hour. And I kind of found that unacceptable myself, especially because she's doing the exact same work as her co-partner there. So this communications dispatcher 2, it fits her position and the work that she does, the description, better than what she started at 3 years ago when she came here at the sheriff's office. So it is not to just give a person a pay raise. This is exactly in line with the amount of work and responsibility that this individual has here as a positive staff member here at the sheriff's office.
Sheriff, I do guess I could follow up if I could. It says she makes $12.93, which basically is $13 an hour, but she could go up to $15.79. Why don't you just give her a raise rather than move her up to something that starts where her top end is?
Well, with all due respect, like I said before, this pay scale of $12.93 to $15.79 an hour, I kind of found it hard to believe that the county of Muskegon even has a pay scale like that for one of our staff members.
We have it for a lot of our staff members,
Well,
but thank you. I
yeah.
understand your situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheriff?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it says here that you're going to utilize salary savings from this year. And I'm assuming that we have those salary savings because of the COVID situation. Are we going to be able to sustain this next year when we don't have that increase, when we are under normal circumstances?
Well, the plan on this motion,
It's not the right thing to do. I'm just
no,
wondering.
it's the plan is to obviously budget accordingly next year for this position and to make it fit within the budget. Yes.
Okay.
I guess I have another question if I could.
Yes, of course.
Almost everything you bring to us, it requires a change in your budget. In this, I realize that this, you're going to be able to come, but I guess I would have to say I'm not a big fan of this. There's a lot of people that really deserve more than we pay them. And if we start and open that door, I don't know that the county can afford it. And I don't think it's fair to do it for one person and not everybody who deserves it. That's just my opinion.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, hearing none. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hughes,
No.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Steer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego.
Yes, and that motion passes. The next item for consideration is CPS 21/03-18. Sheriff Michael Pullen to approve the did I? Oh, okay. To approve the sheriff to utilize salary savings to implement a salary range adjustment to the Marine officer seasonal job classification TY 150 to pay table grade TS-00430, 1550 per hour to 1617 per hour. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Melinda, may I ask a question of the sheriff?
Of
We need a
course.
motion in a second.
I'm sorry. I'll wait.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Nash and a support from
Commissioner Wilkins.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Yes, I'd like to ask the sheriff a question.
Yes,
Sheriff, these seasonal Marine positions, aren't these people that, like, they're college students in criminal justice?
Yes, Commissioner Skolnick. Well, some are, and some are retired law enforcement individuals.
Okay. I'm in favor of this. I mean, that's not a vacation job. I mean, they actually do important work, and you can work at McDonald's for more than $10 an hour. Thank you.
any other? Any other?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Laring.
What lakes are they going to be patrolling, if I may ask?
The staff from the sheriff's department, has authority in all the lakes here in Muskegon County. Keeping in mind that 66% of our county is water. We have 14 active bodies of water in Muskegon County with almost 26 miles of shoreline along Lake Michigan. And the sheriff's office is responsible for all of those unincorporated areas that don't have their own law enforcement agency. We're talking about 16 townships. 2 of them have charter townships, so we cover the other 14. There's 7 cities. Only 1 city does not have direct access to water in Muskegon County, and then the 4 villages that are here. But there's over 12 parks that have water in Muskegon County. Any waterway that's in the county of Muskegon, they will be doing patrolling at, either inland or attached to Lake Michigan.
Madam Chair, may I continue?
Yes.
So last year when we saw a very similar motion to this, it was specifically generated towards Mona Lake, but I didn't see it on this one. Is this the same program? In last year, I thought Norton Shores paid for a portion of this. Is this a different motion, or are we going to be adding that also, or why is this different than last year's motion?
Now, great question, Commissioner Laring. Each of you should have received a wage comparison document. Did you guys get that?
Yes.
Okay. On that wage comparison, in the blue box in the bottom, it has the stuff for the city of Norton Shores. The city of Norton Shores already approved this increase should it happen for their officers. That's just a pass through. So they're utilizing our staff. We work 40 hours a week, billable right to the city of Norton Shores. We have 8 positions is what this will be for. There's 10 altogether with the 2 for Norton. So there will not be an additional motion for that. The city of Norton Shores did that themselves.
Madam Chair, I have a question I'm sorry, Commissioner Laring, go ahead.
So last year, this was specifically generated to just patrol Mona Lake, but this year you're patrolling all of the bodies of water in the county.
No, sir. We've always did all the bodies in Muskegon County. We just added dedicated enforcement patrols to the city of Norton Shores being paid for by the city of Norton Shores.
That's last year, you mean?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question too.
Yes, Commissioner Hughes.
I guess I have a problem with this too, for kind of the same reasons. We have all kinds of departments in the county who have people that don't make what we think they should make. And if we allow this in one department, are we opening it up so every department, I really would love to open it up so that every department employee gets what they really deserve compared to other departments in the county and other counties outside of Muskegon County. But once you open this up for one department, I think you need to do it in the whole county, and I don't think we can afford that. So that's why I'm against this.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Madam
Not-
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
I just have one.
Wilkins, go ahead.
I have one question for the sheriff. I just want some information. What happened on the boat that was not working last year? I haven't heard any more about it. What did we do with that? I mean, this is just a question.
If you're, I believe the one you're asking about is the one we filed suit on where the work was not completed.
We were working on it. It was going to cost a lot of money, but I haven't heard anything since. So, but that's all right. I can get that information from you later.
Yeah, if you would, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it so I completely understand what's going on. All
Real
of our boats are,
fine.
all of our boats are in service there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, I'm just gonna say that I appreciate our law enforcement and our public safety department. They definitely are in a different grade of any other employees across the county. So I appreciate this. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes,
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
No.
and Commissioner Pago.
Yes, and that motion passes. Okay, moving on is CPS 21/03-19, Sheriff Michael Pullen to authorize the sheriff to lease 4 2021 Ford Police Interceptor utility all-wheel drive vehicles and to utilize emergency services to coordinate the leasing, equipment purchases, and upfitting using my deal pricing of $35,849 per vehicle with additional equipment cost of $11,227.08 per vehicle. Further authorize obtaining quotes for leasing and amend the budget accordingly.
So moved.
Support.
Probably right.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Hovey Wright and a support from Commissioner Seer. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Chairman, I have a question. I'm just curious. Sheriff, the lights are brand new, but the radios are being switched from the old cars?
Yes, well, we switch everything that we can that fits as the Ford either changes a model year. But everything that we can get on here as far as equipment that we can reuse, we do.
Okay, and you're still using emergency services for that?
Yes, sir.
And everything's been good there, right?
Oh, it's been fabulous. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question on that too.
Yes, Commissioner Hughes.
Sheriff, is the emergency services prices in here too, or is that going to be extra?
No, they're in here also.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, there's no other questions, comments, or concerns. We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes,
Commissioner Wilkins,
yes,
just a minute.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Leering.
No.
Did you say no? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I said no.
Thank you. Commissioner Pago,
And no.
Thank
And
you.
that motion passes. And moving on, is there any unfinished business to come before the board? Any unfinished to come before the board? Okay, there's no unfinished business. Is there any new business to come before the board? No new business to come before the board. Is there any public comment on anything? A public comment on anything?
I
Sure.
see no hands.
Did Michael
Oh.
Paul raise his hand?
We have a sheriff question.
Yeah.
Okay, Sheriff, go ahead.
Not a question, just a comment. I just want to thank you for your support on these motions here, because as important as they are for the sheriff's office and our operation. And I want to thank Commissioner Sear for stopping by yesterday. I put an offer out, especially for the new commissioners, to come take a visit at the sheriff's office. Once we get clear through COVID and stuff, I'll be more than happy to run you guys through the jail if you'd like to see that for more of our operations. And between now and the next meeting, if any of you aren't so inclined, would like to sit down and talk about these motions here and get a full picture of exactly what we are doing, I'd be more than happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Last opportunity for a public comment. None. Are there any final board comments? No final board comments. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Adjournment.
Okay, we will move on to the next meeting. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Commissioner Pago. The next coming up is Human Service Committee. It'll be Marcia Hooter, right? As chair.
Right.
We're ready to go.
Okay, on March 2nd at 4 o'clock, or actually it's 4:25, call to order the Human Services Committee of the County Board. Can we do roll call, please, with location?
You're muted.
Commissioner Brown,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Sear,
Here, Twin Lake, Michigan.
Commissioner Hughes,
Here, Muskegon Township, Michigan.
Commissioner Laring,
Here, Muskegon County Hall of Justice.
Commissioner Nash,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Pago,
Here, City of Norton Shores.
Chairman Skolnick,
Here, City of Norton Shores.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Here, Muskegon County Building.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Here, City of Muskegon. Okay, we'll move on to number 3, approval of the minutes of December 1st, 2020. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, we'll take a vote. Roll call, please. Roll call for approval.
Commissioner
of the
Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes,
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Moving on to number 4, presentation of Veterans Affairs Department by Mr. Bao.
Good afternoon. This is Mike Bao. I manage the Department of Veterans Affairs for Muskegon County. Those of you who have been commissioners for a while know what we do, but for the new commissioners, we'd like to go ahead and give you somewhat of a presentation. And before we start getting deep into what we do, it's a good idea to get an idea of what our federal and the state levels do. Kathy, did you have that presentation up by chance?
Yes, Kristen's working on it. Just one second.
Okay. It is 24 slides, but we'll try to be pretty quick. I promised Commissioner Skolnick we wouldn't do 2-hour-long presentation today.
Hey, Mike, can your video, is it able to open your video?
Yeah, I see myself on here.
We can't see you.
Oh. I don't know why.
There you
There
go.
you are.
There you are.
Oh, yay.
Nice haircut, Mike.
Hey, thank you. So while they're getting it ready, I'll just kind of go through some of these slides that you really don't need to read a whole lot, but the Federal Department of Veterans Affairs, if you think of the big picture, they cover the bigger dollar items. They cover healthcare, they cover the pharmaceuticals, they cover home loans, and they cover headstones and markers and the national cemeteries. And the most important thing, they cover compensation, whether it be in financial due to a disability that you incurred while you were in the service, education and training compensation, and vocational rehabilitation, and so forth. The big ticket items. The state of Michigan has a Veterans Affairs Department as well, and they're more about managing the trust fund. There's a $50 million pot of money in Lansing that is the Veterans Trust Fund, and they manage that and help the veterans that are war era only with emergent needs that are greater than the emergent needs that we can provide. So you're talking roof repairs, you're talking major car repairs, that type of thing. Emergent needs only. They also manage the homes for the veterans. So the Grand Rapids Veterans Home is available for, it's a senior living center, basically nursing home. They are building some new veterans homes throughout the state. And right now there's only two, and one's in the UP and one's in Grand Rapids. They're going to have them throughout the state so that family members can visit closer to their folks. And then we go to slide number 4, and there's some laws that actually, I'm sorry, slide number 3. So there's the state, and then slide number 4 talks about the summary of the laws, why we exist, what makes us exist. And the state laws state that we shall provide a veterans relief fund, the county will, to it's war era veterans only that are in emergent needs. The county shall provide a $300 allowance for funeral expenses. And that law was written in 1918, I believe, and back then $300 covered all funeral costs. Today it's about $6,000, and if you did the math on Google, you'll find out that $300 in 1918 is equivalent to approximately $6,000 today. We would need to have $1 million a year in our millage to be able to support $6,000 per funeral expense. We average about 100 veterans per year, and or their spouses that pass away that are war era veterans. Markers for graves, we are required to, the county's required to pay for the markers installation or medallion installation. And the Veterans Trust Fund, it's optional to have the county help the veterans apply for it. I mean, they can go right online and apply to the state directly, but most of your departments of Veterans Affairs in the state will go ahead and provide the assistance, because there are some forms that are a little confusing. And the option to create a Department of Veterans Affairs is optional. Not every single county in the state of Michigan has a Department of Veterans Affairs. There is an office space, for example, in Ottawa County that's manned by 2 volunteers, and they are in 2 days a week, and they basically administer soldiers and sailors relief if necessary. So and of course the processing of the burial allowances and so forth. This county of Ottawa County has a $60,000 annual budget to support their veterans, and they have roughly 12,000 veterans in their county, 13,000 veterans in their county. But they do that because they're doing it on volunteers, and they're not really doing the other things that the rest of the counties do. I would say that probably 20% of the people filing for claims out of our office are from Ottawa County. So if you go to the next slide we talk about requirements by law, and I'm just going to go real quick. You can read them at your convenience. Public Act 214 says that the county can levy up to 1/10 of a mil for veterans relief. We don't do that because it's only allowed to be for war era veterans relief. Next slide, Kathy. Okay. Requirements by law, Public Act 235 of 1911 tells us that we're required to pay for funeral expenses. So not 1918, 1911. And requirements by law, Public Act 63 of 1915 mandates that the county pays for the markers for veterans' graves. And Public Act 9 says that the state will provide emergent relief through the trust fund. And 192 says that if you open up and establish a county Department of Veterans Affairs, which this county has, under Public Act 192, then all the requirements for reporting and money and anything else is overseen by a Veterans Advisory Committee instead of by the local township supervisors. So we have that in our facility. There's some statistics on slide number 10 that says we roughly have 12,125 veterans in Muskegon County. We see probably 3,000 here in our office. Based on the national average, we should have somewhere between 70 and 90 homeless veterans and their dependents in Muskegon County. There's a 5.4% in unemployment rate in the state of Michigan when this was written, and that translates to probably 655 potential unemployed veterans in Muskegon County. And there's the suicide rate. 22 veterans commit suicide a day nationwide. That equates to, and I sat on the Suicide Review Committee for Muskegon County. We had 31%. We only make up about 18% of the population of Muskegon County, but we made up 31% of the suicide rate in fiscal years 15 and 16. And in fiscal year 20, we made up 25% of the suicide rate. So clearly we have some mental health issues that aren't being treated. And statewide, only about 10% of all veterans are receiving VA compensation and pension benefits for disabilities incurred while they were in service. And we're trying to address this. We've done some outreach. We've put up billboards last year with the state grant, or last summer. We're reaching out to adult living centers and mobile home parks and churches, trying to get the word out that we are here and people should come in and apply for their benefits. How we're funded. So we are operating on a 13th of a mil. The first time that was brought to the voters was in 1994, and it was a 56% approval rate. In 1998, went for a 10-year vote and it was 78% approval. In 2008, it was an 80% approval. And we just did it in 2019 again, and we received an 85% approval rate from the voters, which was attributed to everybody's hard work and everybody getting the word out. It was a great ballot.
Mike, would you tell us how much a 13th of a mil is, please?
A 13th of a mil for us translates to approximately $330,000 a year.
But for the taxpayer?
For the taxpayer, that translates to, on top of my head again, that's like $3.94 a year.
Yep, that's what I wanted you to tell them.
Yep, for a $100,000 home.
Yep.
Now, to put this in perspective, we already talked about Ottawa County. They just do it off their general fund. They don't actually pull a levy. But the Kent County, they're operating on a 10th of a mil, which was voter approved, and their millage is approximately $900,000 a year. So if you put it in perspective, we're operating on a very small budget compared to our neighbors in Kent County.
Thank you.
It does pay for our building. It pays for 2 of our staff, and it pays for the state mandated things, the soldiers, sailors relief, the burial benefits, the headstone placements, and it pays for the Veterans Memorial Park maintenance, a portion of. But we have a much larger building than we need to have for 2 staff. So we'll get into that here shortly. We also have been applying for the County Veterans Service Fund grant for the last 3 years. We've received $67,588 this year, and they're letting us have some of our rollover from 2020 for part of this year as well through April. That's allowed us to pay for a temporary person who, in my motion later, we're going to ask to bring on board full time, but that's allowed us to pay for her, as well as to pay for emergency relief for peace era veterans. It's very, very clear that the law says we can only use the millage funds for war era. So we do other things to get the peace era veterans, and the service fund grant was our state funded avenue for that. We manage a DTE energy program partnered with Consumers Energy as well. Last year, it brought in $2,084,000 in revenues and had the $1,946,000 in expenses. Since 2012, I think we've brought in roughly $15 million, $16 million of DTE's money and or consumers' money. And that's gone ahead to help our HVAC companies in the community. It's created employment, it's created taxable income, expendable income, it's helped the distributors. It's been a wonderful thing, all in addition to helping the local community and the local consumers conserve money throughout the year on their energy bills. We have a grant from How Met this year that we were allowed to use for helping peacetime vets or veterans who had damages from the high water tables. And we had a Elks Club grant that allowed us to provide goods or services to peacetime vets specifically. And we operate a food bank that we provide food for war era and peace era vets that are in need. And we do that with donated dollars. This year so far, we've received $11,863 in donated money, which is phenomenal. And we don't solicit that. We can't solicit it. So we know what the state law says we have to do. We know that we employ 2 people plus a third as a temporary, and we know we don't get a lot of funding to do what we do. So if we go to slide 13, here's what we did. We entered into a 10-year memorandum of understanding agreement with, in this case, the VFW and the DAV. So the VFW and the DAV pay for a full-time service officer each to work in our office, and they help roughly 50 veterans per week per person, and doing that with, total, and that's filing for veterans benefits claims, whatever the benefit need that they're looking for is going to be. To give you an idea how life-changing this is, we have widows who their husband was a veteran, never did anything whatsoever with the VA, just didn't want anything to do with it, ends up dying of some condition, whatever that condition is. If we can link that condition to time in service, for example, died with asbestosis or COPD and worked as a boiler technician on a ship in the 1950s. We know that he was exposed to asbestos, and we can apply for DIC, which it translates to $1,300 a month for that widow for the rest of her life. So that's a thing. We have veterans who were exposed to conditions, environmental conditions, whatever they might be, who never thought they could file a claim. When they file a claim, they're starting to make $3,000 a month for the rest of their life, non-taxable. There's property tax exemptions and so forth. And that's all done by our service officers. We actually have 4 accredited service officers in our county. There's the 2 that are employed by the DAV and the VFW, and there's the 2 staff members that the county employs, myself and Cynthia Hatcher. And there's no cost to the county to have those 2 people there. The Volunteers of America, we entered the same agreement with them. They provide assistance with housing, and they provide assistance with employment. So if you're unemployed or you want to get gainful employment, or you're homeless, we have those people in our office as well that can help you. We have, to go back to the service officer piece on the next slide, 14, to give you an idea of the quality of work they do, we do as a group. From fiscal year 15 to fiscal year 19, we had a 9.23% reduction in veterans due to natural attrition, but we had a 22.33% increase in VA spending in Muskegon County for compensation benefits. That's a lot of money coming in. That's a $14 million extra per year coming into Muskegon County of expendable income just for filing claims, where we should have had a 9.23% loss with a 9.23% loss of veteran population. So we talked on the next slide, we talked real quick about the housing from the VOA, but we also have partnered with the federal VA. Even though they've got a VA clinic downtown or down by the airport, and even though they have a federal VA clinic in Wyoming, they might need to see some of their customers or their clients who happen to be residents here in the city of Muskegon who don't have easy transportation. So we allow them to be in our building as well. We provide them a free space. The VA pays for those people, It doesn't cost the county a dime, and we can provide the extra services. There's also social workers and psychologists that utilize our space when necessary from the VA. And again, at no cost to the county. On the next slide, we see that we have volunteers that provide PTSD awareness group counseling for veterans and their spouses or their family members. So what's important about that is that the federal VA does not offer counseling to the spouse or the mom and dad or the kid. They only do it to the veteran or for the veteran. So we have a Vietnam veteran who has been living with PTSD ever since he earned his two Purple Hearts, and his wife who's been living with him, and they've gone through numerous counseling sessions to learn how to deal with and what they do. And they now offer that free service to any of the people that want to come in there. You don't have to come in there as the veteran. You can come in as the dependent or the family member and just get a better understanding from both perspectives as to what it is. And it grew. It started out with 7 people, and I think they're all the way up to 30 some odd people that come in on a regular basis. We allow peer-to-peer meetings down in our first floor conference room. That's veterans who are struggling but don't like to deal with the VA, their counseling sessions, their group sessions, because of how they're run. So we allow them to meet in our conference room downstairs in the first floor to still help each other out. On the next slide, you can see that we allowed WINC, Women Injured in Combat. It's a nonprofit group, and it's operated with volunteers only, but they go ahead and they support women who have experienced military sexual trauma during their service. And although there is some support for that in the form of counseling, individual counseling at the VA, there's not a group support for that. So if I can put it in perspective, you have 25% of the service members are female, 75% are male, and you're in a hostile environment, in Iraq or Afghanistan, for example. And the female and the male, when they're outside the safe zone, the wire, they're always looking over their shoulder for the enemy. They're always ever vigilant, always on the alert, and they're always worried that they're going to be a target. When they get inside the fence in the wire, the nice safe zone, now the females who aren't allowed to carry weapons in the compound, or the males aren't either, now they are threatened by their male counterparts who they're just threatened by them, and there is plenty of sexual trauma that occurs over there. So we don't have them come through our entire building. We just have them. We give them their own little office suite right by the elevator. It's nice and comfortable, and they've done really well with that. We did not, prior to last February, have a vehicle to provide transportation, but My Auto Group was kind enough to donate us a van. High mileage, but it's in good condition. And we have been diligent about getting volunteers to come in and do the driving for us. Of course, they're insured and licensed. And we have been we started out with 1 or 2 veterans back when COVID first started, and we are now providing 5 trips, 5 days a week that we're providing transportation, whether it be to a grocery store or whether it be to dialysis or cancer treatments or whatever you have to do. We're doing 5 days a week, all with volunteers driving. In the next slide, we have mentor meetings and training for Veterans Court. If none of you have been to a Veterans Treatment Court, I highly recommend you do. It's a very different kind of court. Judge Castrava does a wonderful job in his role. DJ Hilson does a great job. The sheriff does. We have a defense attorney here in Muskegon County that provides all the defense pro bono. He's been doing that since 2012. And through our office, what we do is we coordinate the mentors. So mentor is basically a big brother, big sister that the veteran who's in the treatment court can call on and lean on for advice. And when they're struggling with the court system, they give that hopefully good advice, and the veteran proceeds through forward, and it's a good thing. We accept high risk, high need veteran offenders. Most of them have some kind of substance abuse. Most of them have been suicidal. Our very first 8 we took in, our very first 8 that we took in were all suicidal. One of them attempted it twice. With the exception of one, they're all still alive today. The one that died in a car accident. 2 of those from our very first 8 came back to be mentors themselves because they got so much out of the program. And they were the one was facing felony charges for discharge of a firearm inside of a residence, and was gonna lose everything, gonna lose his custody of his daughter, gonna lose his rights to bear arms, gonna lose everything he had in his vision. He successfully navigated this program so well. The prosecuting office dropped all charges, and he is still serving as one of our go-to mentors. So it's been a phenomenal program. So more output on 19 real quick. We are very actively involved. I said we were in the Suicide Prevention Coalition or Review Committee. We're involved with the Homeless Continuum of Care Network. We're involved with the Veterans Homeless Initiative, the County Suicide Review Committee. We're involved in coordinated reentry committee meetings, which I didn't put in there. And it's so we're involved in all the different areas that we need to be to help the veterans that we can find that need the assistance. In 2016, we helped then Holly Hughes push forward a bill that mandated that the state colleges had, if they were going to receive state funding, they had to agree to accept the joint service transcript credit hours as college credits, not college degrees, college credits. So for what that's worth, boot camp counts as physical education, firefighting training. There's leadership training. Our schools, the electronics schools or the maintenance schools, all of those are ACE accredited, but the state of Michigan colleges were not required prior to this to accept those credits as credits. To give you an example of what that would mean for me, my ACE accredited credits through just military experience and military courses is approximately 200 credit hours, which if I was applying for a state job, I would not have those, or college, I wouldn't be able to use those credits at all towards my degree, which would be very costly down the road. I'd have to take a lot more courses. On the next slide, we are out and about, myself and Dee Hatcher, we are out and about talking to different nonprofits, talking at different engagements. It could be in Newaygo County, it could be Muskegon County, it could be Ottawa County. We're talking to employers. We're having employee meetings, not during COVID, where a company like Shape Corp, for example, has 200 veterans in their workforce. We'll go speak to those veterans and see about getting them to come in and apply for their benefits. We've done this with the prison system. We've done it at retirement homes, nursing homes, and they've all turned out in one way, shape, or form very successful. If we go to the next slide, we talk about the Veterans Park is partly maintained. We operate the food bank. We talked about that. And all these things so far have been zero cost. The only cost that we've got to the county is the millage funds. We've not taken money out of the general fund. We've had a jobs fair since quite some time now, and we didn't do it during COVID, but we've managed to have a relationship built with all the employers where we go ahead and send them resumes of any veteran or relative of a veteran that comes in our office looking for employment. And literally, I've had veterans sitting in there. We've sent it off in the email, and while we're still talking in the office, they're getting that very well for our employers, as well as for our veterans seeking employment. We talked about the DTE energy program, roughly over 4,000 homes, $13 million to $15 million that we brought in to the county. And just as a whole, this is such a good model. The director of the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency has encouraged, and they've had other county Veterans Affairs have reached out to us. She's actually encouraged other counties to consult with us to get an understanding of how this model works, to try to adapt this model in their facilities. So That is what we do. That is our hopefully somewhat brief. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
Great job, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Bow. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, are we okay to move on to the next agenda item? Any questions for Mr. Bow? Okay, the next agenda item is public comment on an agenda item. Is there any public comment on an agenda item?
I'm not seeing any hands, Commissioner.
Me either.
Nope.
Okay, we'll move on to items for consideration. Number 6, HS 21/03-01. And this is under Veterans Affairs to authorize the county administrator to create the position of Veterans Resource Assistance, table grade NO-00180, $16.96 to $21.37 an hour, and to appoint Amy Rabidou to the position effective May 1st, 2021, provided she passes the pre-employment physical.
So moved.
Support.
Is there any, are there any questions, comments, or concerns on 01? Okay, we'll move for a vote. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
You're muted, Bob.
No, I know. Yes, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Wilkins, Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Okay, moving on, that passed. Moving on to HS 21/03-02. Public Health, Kathy Moore, to authorize Public Health to accept funding in the amount of $51,459 effective October 1, 2020 to September 30th, 2021. And authorize Public Health Director to sign the related contract agreement with Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy to perform routine environmental health inspections, activities, and services. Do I have a motion?
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, may we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. That was passed. The next is HS 21/03-03. And this is again under Public Health, Kathy Moore, to approve extending the fiscal year 20 senior millage funding in the amount of $40,005 to the Alzheimer's Association through June 30th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we support this. Number 3, are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a question, Madam Chair. Is that just for 4 months worth of service?
Yeah, they didn't use all their money last year because they had some staff issues, and so they think they can use it now. So it's money that was allocated before and we're carrying it over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and just so you know, this was a recommendation from the Senior Activities Committee.
Great,
Who
thank you.
got into the details. Thank you. We're ready for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nash,
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
yes,
Commissioner Laring,
yes,
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Thank you. That passed. Moving on to HS 21/03-04. Again, Public Health, Kathy Moore, to authorize Public Health to participate in the WIC Project Fresh program as a state authorized WIC market master and to enter in agreements with the participating farmers. Further authorize the Public Health Director to sign market master and related Project Fresh agreements with no change in the general fund
so
appropriation.
moved.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Madam Chair, I do have a comment on this.
Sure.
I'd just like to say that this is a really, really good program that helps a lot of people, and it even flows into the farmers market where they go and teach the people how to use some of the fresh fruits and vegetables that they get. I love this program. I just think it's one of the greatest ones we have.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready for a vote?
Yes.
Okay, please, roll call, please.
Commissioner Pago,
yes,
Chairman Skolnick,
yes,
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Laring,
yes,
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Okay, that too has passed. We're moving on to HS 21/03-05, Public Health, Kathy Moore, to approve refunding 90% of the food service licensing fees collected in fiscal year 20 and discounting the food service licensing fees to be paid in 21 by 50%.
so moved,
support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on number 5?
Marcia, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is Kathy here? I don't. Oh,
Yes,
there-
yes, I am, Commissioner.
Was this your idea?
I actually introduced it to our Public Health Advisory Committee, who overwhelmingly supported it. So, yes, and actually it's not my idea, it's really my obligation. We did not earn those fees last year, and so we really should not keep them.
Okay, this is super fair. I was wondering if this is something that's, I shouldn't have put it like that because I wasn't trying to catch you on anything. I was just wondering if this was something that's been going around the state.
No, you may have some constituents who would not appreciate that in other counties because I don't know that they were planning to do the same.
Okay, thank you, Kathy.
Well, I think it's the right thing to do under the circumstances, and I commend you, Kathy, for initiating or whatever you did with this. I think are there any other comments, questions, or concerns?
Has these funds already been sent out?
No, we are waiting until full board approval. So this is just right now for conversation, and then next week with full board approval, we plan to contact everyone and let them know what their 90% of fixed food license, temporary and seasonal, what that amount will be. And then the fiscal year 21, those fees aren't due until April 30th. So we would let them know what the new discounted amount is.
Well, I just wanted to say that was great forward thinking, Kathy. And I think this comes at a great time because I don't know if everyone's seen some of the articles that we just recently had, but there are some local restaurants who are struggling and ask for community support in different ways.
Yeah, it was just amazing the number that, they were very hopeful last year and they paid their license. We had one vendor, one of your constituents, Commissioner Nash, who continued to purchase a temporary license because a piece of vital equipment had not shipped due to COVID. And in order to stay going, she just purchased temporary license after temporary license. So yes.
Yeah, that was great help and assistance. And actually, that's Commissioner Wilkins' constituent, but still, I mean, we're all in the same community, and she just reached out for help, and I'm glad you were able to help her.
Great.
Marcia, may I ask Kathy one more question?
Sure, go ahead.
Kathy, how much could that amount to? I mean, is it just like a few $100s or is it more?
So it's in our budget for fiscal year. We estimate the refund to be $230,400 for last year, and we think the discount for this year will be $151,000 because we think more people will buy a license this year than last year.
No, what I meant was like, how much would just an average restaurant get?
Oh, okay. For a fixed food service establishment, the regular price was $605, and so they will receive a refund of $555.
Wow. Okay, I mean, that will help. That's pretty good. Excellent.
Okay, I think we haven't voted. Is that correct? Roll call, please.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Steer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Well, I think I should abstain because I leased to some restaurants. I don't know if that would be required or not.
We understand.
Thank you.
I don't think that qualifies. Michael Holm, you're on the line.
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, I don't think that you are going to benefit directly, but I'd have to pull up your conflict of interest policy. I think the safest bet is probably to abstain from voting if you think that there's a conflict.
I leased to 4 different restaurants.
Okay,
Probably, yeah.
I'll abstain.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Not
Commissioner
gonna,
Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
yes. Again, we have a unanimous vote and support, and we're moving on to HS 21/03-06. Public Health, Kathy Moore, to authorize the Public Health Department to amend its fiscal year 21 budget from $7,398,712 to $9,254,543, which includes changes in grant funding, program line item adjustments, staff funding transfers, temporary COVID-19 community response workers, grant funded reimbursement of a COVID-19 testing vaccination mobile unit operated by Health West, purchase approved by Health West Board in January, with no change in the general fund appropriation.
So
So
moved.
moved. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there any question? Are there any question, comments, or concerns?
Maybe they just took it.
No?
We
Okay.
voted on that.
Are we ready for, let's go ahead with a vote then? Will you,
Sorry, Commissioner Hovey Wright?
yes,
Is not Commissioner Moore, is Director Moore still on the line?
Yes,
Can she
I
explain
am.
this? Can she explain this a little more, please? Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a budget adjustment to actually incorporate many of the COVID-19 related grant dollars that is available to public health through state and or federal sources. It really doesn't mean that we're going to spend all the money, but we did align it according to the stipulations of the grant, and we put it in our budget. And we need authorization to adjust our budget accordingly.
So the stipulations is for testing and vaccination mobile unit?
Yeah, well, just that one is a reimbursement of, let's see how much, 48,000 for that, and that's allowable under the grant. There's actually a little over 2 million of funds for the COVID related.
Okay,
And
so what are those funds going to be allocated toward? What are you going to use them on?
so some of the, when we talk about the staffing funding adjustments, we are redirecting staff from some of the traditional programs because we don't have a lot of demand right now for those, and they are working on testing and vaccination. We kind of have a list here, and then there's supplies, vaccination supplies. We have 182,000 in contingency lab costs, but we're not going to use the type of test that requires us to send it to a lab unless we have to. We had incorporated a big percentage, about 300,000. It says 320 in the budget for temporary workers through Good Temps. We have approximately 20. Well, we have 20 on the books, 15 are filled, and that is to assist us with a lot of the community COVID response, because we don't have a big staff and we don't necessarily need to grow our staff for a temporary response.
So the monies is going to be used toward the COVID-19 type thing, and if you don't use it there, then what happens?
Then we return it. And we do that. It's not just, it's not just these grant dollars. A lot of our dollars in public health are considered special revenue funds. And so you use it for that specific purpose or you return it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, are we ready to move on for a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Okay, number 6 passed. On to HS 21/03-07, Public Health, to approve extending the fiscal year 20 senior millage funding in the amount of $38,456.50 for age-well services for the Safe Seniors Program through June 30th, 2021.
Move.
Is there a second?
Support.
Okay. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? This again was a recommendation from Senior Activities Committee, so it's already been vetted.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Okay, on to number 7. Is there any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? Okay, moving on to new business. Is there any new business? Any new business? Okay, here's a spot for number 9, public comment. And the public can comment on any item. Doesn't have to be on the agenda.
I'm not seeing anybody.
Okay. Any final board comment? Okay, boy, that was easy for my first meeting. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is, that's the end of our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Ways and Means will start shortly. Kim Sear will be chair, is chair.
Now, when you're ready, Mark.
Looks like we are ready to go. Thank you.
There you go. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Ways and Means Committee meeting of March 2nd, 2021 at 5:12 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
With your location, Commissioner Brown,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Here, Muskegon, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Hughes,
Muskegon Township, Michigan here.
Commissioner Laring,
Here at Muskegon County Hall of Justice.
Commissioner Nash,
Here, City of Muskegon.
Commissioner Pego,
Here, Muskegon County, Michigan.
Commissioner or Chairman Skolnick,
Here, City of Norton Shores, Gary Nealand, Exalted Mayor.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Here, County Dillon in Muskegon County.
Commissioner Sear.
Here, beautiful Twin Lake, Michigan. All right, I'd like to have a motion for the approval of the minutes of February 8th or February 16th, 2021, please.
So moved.
Move.
Second, Hovey Wright.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions, or concerns on the minutes? Hearing none, can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Sear.
Yes. Minutes are approved. The next item is public comment on an agenda item. Please limit to 2 minutes for your comment on an agenda item only, please.
There is a
Okay,
raised
sure.
hand.
Yeah, Jeanette Hoyer has her hand raised.
Okay, Jeanette, go ahead.
Hello, I'd like to make a comment on agenda item number 26.
Go ahead.
I respectfully request that the committee, I'm Jeanette Hoyer. I am a resident of Muskegon County and also the president and CEO of Goodwill Industries of West Michigan, headquartered here in Muskegon. I respectfully request that the committee reconsider the decision to grant the temporary staffing contract to an organization out of Oak Park. We at Good Temps are the long-standing service provider for the county, and I believe the only local provider who put in a bid. We've worked closely with public health to get through the pandemic, expediting the hiring of local residents. And public health is where 5% of our temporary staff is at the county, and it seems inadvisable to change at this moment in COVID-19 response. I have 3 primary concerns. Number 1, Muskegon County will lose economic impact by moving county dollars out of the community. Number 2, we had a lower markup rate, and so county budgets, and in particular public health, will be negatively impacted. And number 3, our mission at Goodwill and Good Temps is to help remove barriers to employment in order to increase and improve the workforce in our county. And moving the contract will injure this effort. Again, I respectfully request that the committee reconsider the decision, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Jeanette. Any other public comments at this time? Hearing none, move on to items for consideration. The first item is WM 21/03-23 to approve payment of the accounts payable of $9,903,560.50, covering the period of February 5th, 2021 through February 18th, 2021 for checks and P-card and EFT payments for the period covering January 1st through January 31st, 2021 as presented by the county clerk.
So moved.
Support.
Having Motion and support. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on this item? Hearing none, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Steer.
Yes. That item passes. Moving on to the next item, WM 21/03-24, to approve the sale of lots 14, 18, and part of lot 19 in the county's Business Park North for $5,000 per acre to Accurate Excavators LLC, and to authorize the chair to sign the purchase agreement contingent on corporate council approval.
So moved.
So moved. Support.
Having motion and second, is there any question, comments, or concerns on this item?
I have a question if I could, Mr. Chair.
Please, Commissioner Hughes.
I would like to know if they're gonna put a business there or if they're gonna just dig out the sand and haul it off and make a big hole.
Matt Farah, do you have any, are you on the line
Yeah.
here?
Yes, Commissioner, I'm here. They will not be able to dig soils off that site and remove it.
That's kind of what I thought because of the pollution. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't what they were planning and we weren't gonna end up with a big holy lot. They were gonna be in trouble. Thank you.
Matt, what size are those lots?
Hold on one second.
I think they're all different. He has the information.
Different, the aggregate total for both item 24 and 25 is approximately 40 acres.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Leering,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Steer.
Yes. That item passes. Moving on to WM 21/03-25 to approve the sale of lots 16 and 17 in the county's Business Park North for $5,000 per acre to Ryerson Brothers Excavating LLC, and to authorize the chair to sign the purchase agreement contingent on corporate council approval.
So moved.
Support.
Bring a motion in support. Any questions, concerns, or comments, please?
Yes. Commissioner Seer,
Go ahead, Chair Skolnick.
I'd like to ask a question of Matt, Matt. So if you wanted to build a building there and it required like you wanted to put a basement in, you couldn't do that?
I don't believe you can put a basement in there. Depending on which lot it is, the EPA will probably require vapor intrusion underneath slabs. That all has to be approved by EPA and Eagle.
So really, if you're buying property there, want to build a building, you're just going to pour concrete and then build a building on top of it. That's pretty much it.
That's my understanding. Of course, that's subject to EPA, and depending on exactly where it is in the park.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Seer, I have another question too.
Yes, Commissioner Hughes, go ahead.
Matt, I'm only asking these questions because I'm afraid, I'm hoping that park out there will expand, and I don't want to have something that would be negatively impact any possible expansion. So now I'm going to ask, are they going to make a stump dump out of that, or are they actually planning on putting businesses there?
Well, let me read to you what they submitted to EPA. It'll take just a minute to get to it.
As a contractor, I understand what you can put on empty land that you own, and I have a sand pit and a stump dump. So, I know I own all the way around it. So, but nobody would certainly want to build next to either one of those. And that really is a business park.
Commissioner Hughes, is stump dump a term? Is
It
that-
is, yes. It's a contractor's term for a bunch of stumps in a dump.
Okay.
Okay, for one instance, one of the owners is told the EPA they want to put up a 48 by 72 building, a slab on grade, for shop equipment, supplies, equipment, an office to run the business,
Perfect.
restrooms for employees. That's one of them. They
Perfect.
will not be putting any wells in.
Okay.
Parking lot, they will store some gravel and aggregates side.
Okay.
And then the other, aggregate storage and sales, concrete and asphalt recycling, composting and topsoil screening, which obviously that'll be heavily regulated by Eagle.
Right. Okay,
Chairman,
they're gonna actually run a business there, so
Yeah.
that would be a good
Yeah.
place for something in a business park.
Chairman
Yep.
Chair, just want to make a comment, please.
Yes, Commissioner Brown, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to thank Matt and everyone. This is my district. I think this is exciting. This property's been vacant for what, 15 years or something, Matt?
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to bring in some revenue, some people there. So it's exciting. I think I've had some discussion with Dalton Township. They're actually also very excited about some movement that's not happened for many years. And Matt, you also made a comment too, that it has been a dumping ground where the county has had to pick up and gone out and clean that area too. So there's been a cost associated with keeping that maintained from the county. So that's not going to be another expense occurred. So thank you everyone for doing that. That's good news.
Yeah, it is.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Pago.
I think my question is probably directed to Matt Farah.
Sure.
I just have a question. $5,000 per acre seems kind of low to me. I know you've had this property for a while, so it's exciting to sell it. Maybe with them there, for future sales, we can sell other acreage for a higher price? Or
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. These lots are in the back, and what we see is the least desirable lots. And when the Board of Commissioners set the sale price, it was strictly for these lots in the back. It was not for the lots up on Industrial Parkway, excuse me, and the lots along Whitehall Road. You have not taken action on that. So it's a possibility. We'll see what level of interest we have. But yeah, the 5,000 acres just for the lots we're looking to sell.
Any
Mr.
other
Chair,
questions?
Thank you.
I just had one.
Yes, Charles, go ahead.
Matt, so you're saying that with their request and application, if they wanted to make a change from what they submitted already, they would have to get prior approval for that from the EPA?
EPA and Eagle, yes. The EPA and Eagle approves all site use there.
Thanks.
Mr. Chair, I have one more comment. I just wanted to thank Matt Farah for bringing this deal to the board. It beats the heck out of the deal that we were brought last year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody
Yes,
else?
agreed.
Anybody else? Going once. Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Whoops, yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes. That motion passes. Moving on to WM 21/03-26 to authorize the temporary staffing services RFP 21-2409 be awarded to Global Solutions Group effective April 1st, 2021 for a one-year contract with 2 subsequent one-year extensions, Authorize the negotiation of the contract pending final approval by corporate counsel.
So moved.
Support.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes, Commissioner Skolnick. Chairman Skolnick, sorry.
thank you, Commissioner Seer. I heard Jeanette Hoyer's comments, and of course, she's, I think she's president of Goodwill. I think that's her title. Is there anyone who can speak to I looked at this because I was, I had that same thought that
Me too.
we would run into that. And I don't have a problem giving it to somebody else, but are anybody who knows about the evaluation process, are any of those people on this call?
Yes, Kristen Wade is.
Okay, Kristen, could you talk about that for a minute?
Sure. Kristen Wade, Human Resources Director. An RFP, as you know, was released, and there were 4 primary evaluation criteria. So one being professional qualifications, one being past involvement and professional references, the third being the work plan, and then the 4th proposal fees. So pricing was 15% of the overall criteria and the scoring. A committee was put together. I had one of my staff from the Human Resources Department on that committee, as well as 2 individuals from departments that are high utilizers of the temporaries. So we had a representative from the Health Department and then a representative from the clerk's office. And those 3 individuals were on the committee that evaluated and scored the bid proposals.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yes, Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yeah, I had a similar question. I just wondered how an out-of-town agency can do this work. It seems like having local contacts and local access to labor, et cetera, would far outweigh the other people applying. Although I did notice there was some difference in the scoring that the group, the Global Solutions Group, did have higher scores than other providers. But how does one do that from outside Muskegon?
I can answer that if you want. I can give you
this is-
some insight in on that. A lot of times your corporate office isn't in Muskegon, but you do have a shop here or a location here. So that's why how that happened.
This is for Kristen. Does Global Solutions have a local presence?
Their closest office would be in Grand Rapids. And they do have clients that are in the West Michigan area. So they currently do supply temporaries to West Michigan. And they indicated that they have over 2,000 temporaries that have Muskegon addresses.
Okay.
Okay. Did we have, if I may follow up, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Did we have any problems with Good Temps in the past? I think they've done it for a while.
Absolutely. I am not aware of any specific problems. Again, the committee evaluated, and 2 of those individuals are from departments that have utilized the temps. So I wouldn't be able to specifically speak for those individuals.
Okay.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes, Chairman Skolnick.
I mean, obviously the employees would have to come from here. So you would have, the only difference would be whatever the corporate, whatever corporate markup there would be, wouldn't stay in Muskegon, but the employees would still get paid and be from here. Kristen, do you have any idea how much the total payroll is? I don't think we might be using more this year because of the COVID virus, but in a typical year, how much does this amount to? Do you have any idea?
Right. In 2020, we spent $105,000, and in 2019, it was $140,000.
So it's not a ton of money.
Yeah. Okay.
So what, Kristen If I may, what is the difference in the cost between the two suppliers right now?
Currently, the Good Temps contract that we are currently in is at a 28% markup. They bid their new contract. The new bid proposal was for 26% markup, and Global Solutions proposed a 29.5% markup. And again, as the motion indicates, there are negotiations underway to take a look at that. But looking at, if we were looking at an additional 3.5% markup there, it's right between $3,500 and $4,000 difference, depending on, of course, the amount of temps that we used and how much we paid them.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment if I may.
Yes, Commissioner Laring.
So we've been using Good Temps for a number of years, since I've been on the board anyways. And I've heard, we've hired a lot of employees. We just hired one today from Good Temps. I haven't heard anything negative. I understand that the cost difference is only 15% of the evaluation, but still, this is not the this Global Solutions is not the lowest bidder on this. And I would take a bit of a different tack than Commissioner Skolnick did. Just because they're temps does not mean they don't travel. There are temp agencies in Grand Rapids that travel to Grand Haven and Muskegon all the time. I think we have a better chance of employing local temporaries from a local organization than we would from a organization out of Grand Rapids. They have to interview these employees and place them out of Grand Rapids. So if a temp did go to Global Solutions to fill out an application, do the interview process and drug screening, he's going to have to drive to Grand Rapids. There's going to be, I think we have a better chance of employing local candidates through Good Temps than we do through Global Solutions. So I'm going to vote no on this. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Pago.
correct me if I'm wrong. This is, I think, directed to Kristen Wade. I think you did just state that there's over 2,000 employees that they employ from Muskegon County.
That's what was indicated in their bid proposal.
Thank you.
I have a question too, if I could.
Commissioner Nash, was that you?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in here. I'll probably shock everybody, but I totally agree with what Commissioner Laring just expressed. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in, you know, supporting your home folks with your own tax dollars. These people put into our tax system, and we should return that also, not as a favor, but just I think is the right thing to do. Good Temps has been with us for a while. Kristen Wade did her job in going out and having those things, you know, rebid it, which, you know, I'm a stickler for, is making sure that we rebid them. But with pricing being such a low factor, that's probably why it didn't have a major impact. But I would also like to understand what were the difference in the other factors that you listed for them. But again, I'm a firm believer of supporting our own, especially with the COVID situation going on. And I think that because of the way that we're using them with the different departments, we need the most expedient service and people that are familiar with what we're doing already. And I think Good Temps have that unhandled.
Commissioner Hughes, please.
Yeah, I guess I kind of want to follow up on what Commissioner Nash said. I'd like to ask Kristen, what were the big reasons that the people that were reviewing this had for moving to a different company? Were they all financial related, or were there other significant reasons that they felt that we should move?
I can't speak to the specific reasons. I just know that the overall scoring was highest for Global.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can
And that's
you
why
tell us what those
they know all the
scoring
factors, correct? I'm sorry.
Hang on. Commissioner Nash, please.
Yeah, I was just trying to, because I asked this in my previous cast, can you tell us the difference in those ratings?
The overall percentage for global was 85.38% and good temps was 80.76.
Okay, and what category had the biggest difference?
I don't have the breakdown in what we'd have to get that from the purchasing department. I just have the overall scoring on the
Okay,
bid
can you
summary.
make sure you have that before we go to full board?
I can ask if I'm allowed to have that information, sure.
Well, I think we needed to make a sound decision. That's important for me to know. I
Yes,
don't
we,
like having these solid ratings that come to us and we don't even know what was scored.
Good point.
It's in the documents that we have. I'm not sure I understand all of them, but.
And it's not just your department. I don't like this throughout the county. We don't have these rating numbers to know what categories were lower or higher. We're just given a number and we're supposed to roll with it. I don't think that's fair to us.
Commissioner Seer, I'll just make
Yes, Chairman Skolnick, please.
one last comment. I don't remember which one. I think it might have been when we picked the county attorney when we all did this. The commissioners actually sat in on this. I think I've sat in on this rating panel a couple of times. And there's a lot to this. It's not like you just sit around and make up numbers. There's a fair amount of time spent on this. As far as which one we pick, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. There isn't a huge amount of money involved in this. But the thing I object to is if somebody goes through this process and bids and wins the bid legitimately, then there better be a good reason not to give it to them. And that's what I'm concerned about. I mean, if it stays local, I understand that. And good temps, they go out of their way to hire people with various disabilities and other disadvantages they may have. And I think that's a pretty big benefit. But on the other hand, somebody went to the trouble to bid this and they have 2,000 employees. That's a lot. So we'll see what happens.
Any other comments? Hearing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
No.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
No.
Commissioner Seer,
No,
5 yes, 4 no.
the motion passes.
No, I think it wasn't it 5 no?
No.
4.
Oh,
5
no, I
yes.
counted one person twice, sorry.
Okay, what was the vote again? I'm sorry.
It was 5 yes, 4 no.
Thank you, Kathy. So that motion passes. All right, moving on to item number 6, any unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business out there? Any unfinished business? Hearing none. Item 7, any new business? Anybody like to bring up any new business? No new business. Public comment. We have public comment time. Anybody have a public comment they'd like to?
I think Jim Fisher had a comment, maybe. Is he unmuted?
Jim Fisher, I don't see him, so I don't know.
He doesn't have his hand up.
Okay.
Okay, I
I
don't
don't
see anything out there.
No, I don't see any hands up. Look again, Mark.
Okay, I'll look here in a second.
I don't see any hands.
Okay.
Tony must be on vacation.
Must be. Must be.
Stop. Okay, any final board comments? Any final? Board
Yeah, I have one, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Nash, please.
I just wanted to iterate that I want to make sure nobody thinks that I'm making any accusation regarding staff. That was not my case. My thing is that as a commissioner, we need thorough information to make decisions when we're making decisions regarding finances and people's livelihood. And one thing that I want us to be able to be assured of, that rating is very close. And I would like to know what categories set the other company apart. And does that make a significant difference? That could change the vote. And it could be mine. I don't know, but I wanted to know that for more information.
I understand, and I do agree with that comment. So any other comments?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Pago.
I wasn't a commissioner yet, but I believe this was talked about last year with the previous Board of Commissioners. That's how this came about. Wasn't this how this came forth with Global Solutions?
No, they just bid, they responded on the RFQ that was presented.
So it was the RFQ that was approved last year, probably. Is that what I'm remembering then?
I think
Maybe.
it was the last year of a contract.
Yeah, Kristen, when did that go out? Well, the other contract ends April 1st.
Okay.
Correct. The current contract expires March 31st.
Oh, okay. Okay, any other comments?
Thank you.
One last comment, you have a work session 3:30 on Thursday, followed by Public Works starting at 4.
3:30 Thursday. Well, send me an invite.
And what's the work session?
Matt Fair, are you still on?
Okay.
I think it's Public Works as far as that's what it says on my work session. Kathy, do you know?
March 4th?
Yes, that's correct. Public Works is just having a half an hour work session meeting at 3:30.
Solid waste.
On the
facilities.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
That is not my calendar yet.
Chairman,
Should be on your calendar.
It is not.
Chairman Seer, can I just make a quick comment?
Yes, Chairman Skolnick, please.
I think we made it, if I remember right, there was a conversation or discussion last year about making sure that these things were rebid. And I think that's all it was. I don't think we actually talked about, I don't remember Global Solutions coming up before. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Well,
I do have Public Works at 3:30 on my calendar, so.
I do too.
Okay.
It's in one email.
I'm sorry.
It's in one email, that's why,
Okay.
both of them.
and Bob, you're correct. We usually just emphasize rebidding these things out after they've gone through their cycles.
I move we adjourn.
All right. Everybody in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hovey Wright, I did
Yes.
forward that.
I saw
meeting
it.
for
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
It's in now.